Good evening, one and all. Good evening, good evening. Of course, I've got my illustrious guest, Mr. Shane Gooner, as always, on the Old Skool show. Kenny should be here in a little bit. DJ is catching up, picking his son up from the airport, so he may not make it back in time. But we're going to get into this. Shane, how you doing, my friend?
Yeah, all good, all good. Looking forward to this. Of course, we couldn't just have the 1-0 win and move on to the next week. There has to be drama with Arsenal with the Trossard stuff and the Havertz stuff, but I'm sure we'll get into all that. And yeah, big up to the amazing chat. And yeah, let's get into it, man. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Kawaji, mate, yeah, I will sort out the mod thing after this show for you, buddy. Thank you for that information you've supplied me. Yeah, let's get into this right now. Yeah, dirty win at the weekend. 3 points, I'll take it out of Old Trafford. Wasn't a great performance. A lot of players I thought were very poor. Man United weren't great. They were not great either. But we've got to move on. We'll take it, as always. And Shane, give me your view on that game, mate. 3 points, Old Trafford, 1-0, loads of big top gooners, mate. 4-5-0 predicted. You know what I mean? Didn't happen. Yeah. Never going to happen. We didn't look great, did we, buddy?
No. Listen, I did a match reaction, and the first thing in my chat was, and it summed it up perfectly, was how can Arsenal win the first game of the season? And I feel less confident than I did before the season started. And it's true, because the real fans would be looking to see. We know that the last 2 years before this, if we continue to play that way, we're never winning anything, right? You can't play that pragmatic football. You can't shoehorn the ball around the box, never taking shots. You can't have no creativity in midfield. You can't have the same players with injuries playing under injuries and stuff like that. And we saw exactly what we feared we'd see. I'd love to be a fan that can just switch off and see 1-0 and see, okay, we've won our first game and that's it. We're perfect. We're going to win everything. These guys are great. But I'm a realist, Jez, and I can't do that. That performance was horrendous. We had 3 shots on target, including the goal. The other 2 were just P-rollers from Odegaard and Martinelli that didn't even trouble the keeper. I'm hearing things like defensive masterclass, that Arsenal did a defensive masterclass. You and me being around, Jez, to me, a defensive masterclass means the goalkeeper has next to nothing to do. He just has to come pluck a few balls out of the air because the other team gets desperate and starts lumping it in. And the defenders come off without a speck of dirt on them because they've read everything and they've just stepped in and won the ball. It's not last-ditch tackles. It's not giving away what should have been a penalty. It's not having your keeper to get man of the match. That's not a defensive masterclass. Calafiori getting caught out of position, Ben White looking jaded. Everything that we feared is still there. Martinelli's gone. He's just gone. I don't think he's ever coming back to be the same player. And the biggest thing for me that hurt the most was seeing Bukayo Saka, because I don't even know if it's a fitness thing with him now. I think rushing him back has permanently damaged him. I think it's permanently damaged him, like we saw with Michael Owen, like we saw with Wilshere, like we've seen with players through history, like Ronaldo for Brazil. They lose that 10-15% of pace and they're gone. And at the time, Jez, when he got injured, right, and we heard that it was a grade 3 hamstring, you, me, DJB, Aaron, Lee, all of the so-called negative fans, we said, scrap the Champions League, scrap second place. I don't want to see Saka setting foot on the pitch again this season. We said that last season. Leave him to rest. Don't ruin his career. There's things that are more important than getting to the Champions League semis or getting to the Champions League final. Keep him fit for next season. What did he do? He rushed him back after 3 months. And I don't know. I fear he'll never be the same again. And people say that's hyper negative. It can be whatever they want to say. I don't care. Have a look at him playing. He's ducking out of tackles. That's in his head, of course, but I think that burst of pace is gone. There's about 10 to 15% of what he had that might not ever come back again or repeat. Michael Owen was never the same. He got rushed back, was never the same. So he's a strong boy. I hope that someday, hope I'm wrong, and that someday he can get back to what he was. But under this manager, no, he's going to play every game. He's going to be forced to track back. We'll get into the injuries, I'm sure. But look, we knew they were coming. People will say we're negative for saying that is going to happen. But after that performance, I'm less confident. I think a team like Forest, who are counter-attack masters on the 4th game of this season, I think they could come to the Emirates and get a result against us. I'm not even that confident going into the Leeds game. I think if we don't score early against Leeds and get frustrated, we could be in trouble. I would have believed that Havertz was going to start that if he hadn't got injured. I think he was destined to start. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he was pushed through an intensive training session to make sure he's ready for Saturday, because this manager would look for any excuse not to play Gyökeres. But this is crazy, you know. People getting gassed after that match. They watched a different match, Jez. That's. I know it's tough to go to Old Trafford. I know we struggle there all the time. But United battered us. Let's get it straight. They absolutely battered us. And they didn't even play that well. They still battered us. We had 3 shots on target. Pass terrible. Players making mistakes. Players running through our defence. Players looking knackered. Gyökeres starved of service. First game in, I think, 4 years or something like that. He hasn't had a shot. Never mind a shot on target. Didn't even have a shot. No. These things that we knew would happen are happening, Jez. And we're not negative for thinking it. We've just been around the block and we know how football works. We can sense when a team is starting to slip, and this team has been slipping for 2 years. All of the injuries we're getting this season and that we got last season are a result of players being flogged relentlessly for 3 years. This is the after effects. This is what happens. And people are stunned now when we start to get injuries. So, I don't know. I mean, will we jump back into the transfer market and get another Chelsea loan? Probably. But, I mean, it's not going to make a difference. It's gone too far for me. And that match said it all. That match said it all for me. We're done under this manager. He is out of ideas, and he has been for 3 years, Jez. And we're going to see the effects of it this season.
Sorry, Jez. I apologise in advance for my tardiness.
Don't worry.
Tardiness is that DG started the show at 15:15. And yeah, so it was always a situation where we probably going to.
Don't worry about it.
You know, my tardiness was unintentional.
Yeah, you're right. Don't worry. We're just talking about what happened at the weekend, and I think Shane. I don't think we should class ourselves.
Whilst you're doing that, let me just go to the live and speak, and I'll come back. Yes,
all right, mate.
I'll be on a few seconds.
All right, buddy. I don't think you should think that we're negative, because we've been realists.
Mm-hmm.
As you quite rightly said, we've seen it all before, you know, and that's the problem. It's that there's too many people that are ostriches, right? They'll stick their head in the sand and pretend it's not happening. And that's where it all goes to the rat shit. I mean, this comment, I think it's a great comment. Topside Highbury, big up, man. That win Sunday was as far away from a Jules Graham style smashing goal as you can get. Yeah. I mean, everybody says, oh, well, Jules Graham was negative. Right, some of the football was, I won't deny that. But at least he won shit.
And we never looked like conceding, Jez, when we were 1-0 up in those days. In that game, you were just waiting for them to score. That's the big difference. That
defence I saw on Sunday looked shaky. It just didn't look... What's the word? It just didn't look like we were playing together.
Yeah, it wasn't cohesive. Yeah,
no, it was a mess, and we're not. Look, come on, let's be fair, right? As Aces says, are we going to be in for? Sorry, as Liam says, Aces spot on. Maybe 2 loan players coming in. I can see that maybe happening, but it's an interesting thing, right? And this is right. I'm going to go down this road. Conspiracy theory here. Havertz has gone out, knee injury again. Don't know how long that's going to be for. Don't know the extent of it yet. But it could well be 6 weeks, 2 months, could be longer. I don't know. Is it going to be more surgery? Who knows? But to me, he didn't look fully fit on Sunday when he came on. He looked like he was a little bit struggling there. And he's gone down again. Now, interesting yesterday, Shane. Interesting that we extended Trossard's contract and gave him a little pay rise. A player that at one point was going out the door.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was this known about? Was this injury, Shane? Right, known about yesterday, and Berta and Arteta stepped in and said, "Oh shit, we need a backup in that position." Trossard jump in there. We know that. He's done it before.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, if they've announced today, Havertz has picked up a knee problem. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so Was this known about? And they suddenly said, right, we'll hang on to Trossard then for a little bit longer, maybe till next summer. We'll up his wages, just to keep him happy, and he'll stay here again.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what's happened, Jez. That's exactly what's happened because Havertz was missing from training today. So it didn't happen in training today. He was missing from training today with Ben White. So I think it either happened, he felt something after the match or the training the following day. And the thing with Trossard is, because I was doing my show this morning, as I was saying, I'm trying to find any reason to understand why we would not extend Trossard's contract. Just give him a pay rise. We didn't even give him an extra year, just a pay rise. You know what I mean? So they could have at least put a year on it to make it to cover for what they're doing. But then they said then they've leaked that we're actively back in the market. They will keep saying we're active in the market all the way up until the last day to transfer window, where we'll probably get either a crappy loan or we won't get anyone. And then Arteta will be asked, should you not assign another striker? And he go, why? We have 4. We have Gyökeres, we have Trossard, we have Jesus, we have Marino, and he'll name them off and act like what a silly question. But they definitely knew about that injury, Jez. That's why this was. Why would you give a player more money for no reason? A player that was a bit part player, a player that was meant to leave. The funny thing is, Timber, who played on 3 injuries last season because this manager forced him to, he's on 90 grand the way Trossard was. If anyone should have got a pay rise, it's him. And then AFTV came straight out and said, this is good for me, rewarding players. And they're already dressing up. They were handed the dossier as well the second that they were handed the dossier yesterday. This is all Arteta, true and true. Just everything is smoke and mirrors there. Everything is lies. Everything is a fallacy. It's just a pantomime. And he knew exactly what he's doing. You're spot on with that, Jez. We know that because there was no other reason to explain the Trossard thing unless you go, okay, this injury was either 2 days ago or a day ago, and they slapped down here, look, we'll give you an extra 100 grand a week or whatever he's getting, just so you don't push for a transfer. And then you'll be happy. Because they probably said, will you stay, Leandro? And he said, no, I'm going to be on the bench. And they said, well, what if we give you an extra 100 grand a week? Will you stay on the bench then? Yeah, sure. No problem. So you're right, Jez. This is all because of that injury, which also means we ain't signing anyone. In my eyes, we ain't signing anyone.
Well, that's another question. I'll come into that one in a minute. I'm just going to do some of these comments. Some good comments coming in today. John says, big up, John. Jez, what you keep saying is you're so right. It's boring. When I go, I can't wait to get out of there because it's boring. It bloody well is. At least in the George Graham era, it wasn't great football, but at least we won, and it didn't look like we were going to get threatened or getting beaten. And we're going to talk about some upcoming games in a little bit, but I think you're quite right, Shane. And you agree with me. This was known about probably from Monday, possibly, that he was injured.
Yeah.
And he needs a scan and an assessment and all that lot, right? And all of a sudden, the player that we were talking about leaving, is now staying as a backup. As Michael says, spend and still short of players and can't sell half your players. Yeah, Emery left you in a mess, apparently. Well,
okay, I'll see you.
Absolutely jokes, isn't it? Absolutely joke. Kelly, I want to get your opinion on this, right? Right, this is my conspiracy theory. Yeah, we're talking about the Havertz. He's gone down, knee injury again. Don't know what's exactly the depth of it, but to me, it's a bit odd that yesterday we announced a new pay rise for Trossard, extend his contract. To me, that stinks. That says to me that they knew they knew that Havertz had this problem, probably from Monday, and they've stepped in and thought, oh, we need a backup. We're not going to get rid of Trossard now. We'll have to keep him.
I think that's exactly what happened. I think what's happened is that I was just with the reason why I was late because I was with DG, Deluded Gooner. I said to Deluded Gooner, obviously, I don't know if you guys are worked in the media, but you don't have to work in the media to know how the media works, especially Arsenal media and Arsenal PR. The instant, just because the summit is announced on Wednesday, the incident may not have happened on Wednesday. The incident may have happened 4 days before. It's only when the club released the information. Just like, so basically what will happen is that in between Havertz getting his injury, because he clearly must have got it against Man United. I mean, there's so much happens in football that you don't see. You know, you see a player, he comes off the pitch, and next minute you think he's sprained his ankle. He's torn his knee ligaments, but he lasts to the final whistle, you know what I mean? Or he's pulled an hamstring. You don't know about it. It's only when they come up for their kind of sort of like their warm down, you notice that they have a knock. That's how it's so weird. But I think what's happened with Havertz is the reason why we're probably announcing it now is because they've probably got a Trossard. They said, "Mate, come on, mate," and he went, "No, man. Oh, the guy at the Saturday got me $350 per week, and I'm looking to go to Bayern Munich because they look at me. Wolfsburg look at me. This is an exaggeration, by the way. And maybe, who knows? Maybe Aston Villa want me. No, man. I've already got this moose lined up. Come on, Leonardo. Come on, mate. You'll get your move, but right now we really need you. But they're offering me $200,000 a week, and you only pay me 90. All right, Leonardo. All right. We'll give you a pay rise. We'll give you another $50,000 a week." And so as soon as Leonardo says, "All right, yeah, well, I'll stay," the next day you can announce that Kai's got a knee injury. You won't tell the fans that the length of the time he's going to be out or where he needs surgery. You just put that in because you don't want to worry the fans, because the fans are going to say to you, "You should have signed Eze. You should have got this left winger and you should have got Rodrigo." And that's the game that the club are playing. But I think that the domino effect is that they've had to persuade Leonardo to stay at the club, and they give him a sweetener or inducement, as posh people say, and they can now announce the Havertz news because Leonardo's staying. Or you say, "We'll give you the money."
Sorry, Pete.
I thought it was me.
I'm fine.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? I think that's what it is. It's like, we'll pay her to stay and be committed to us. But if we, at the 11th hour, get a big signing, you can go. And I think that's what it is. Leonardo is the key to all of this.
Because Kenny, with the whole, we haven't got the extent of the injury yet. Like you said, we're about 3 days behind with the information. They know the extent of the injury, and they're going to release that in a few days. We're about 3 days behind with the, because they wouldn't have done this unless they were sure that it was serious, you know. But then they knew it was serious a few days ago, and like you said, that because I was doing my show this morning, Kenny, and I was just telling Jezza that I was talking about the Trossard thing, and I was saying I can't even if I tried to go into the mind of the Semius and stuff like this, and the Cantons who are going to try and dress this up, the Trossard deal with no extension, just extra money. I said I can't find any way to dress this up. And then when I heard about the Havertz thing, I went, there you go, that's what it is. Then now it makes sense.
Yeah, I think what's happening, you've got to think every time I've looked at Arsenal, and I've always said that this season is that if you're a content creator, the sun's shining, is going to be shining all season. You've got to make your hay. And what I'm saying is that we're going to be the most watched content amongst Arsenal fans and amongst opposition fans. I mean, apparently a good friend of mine has told me I'm trending because I'm trending because of my interview with Lee after the Man United game, where I said Saka's not world class. I went on TikTok, fan reaction. It's got my interview with Lee regarding Saka. That point, he's not world class. And if you go onto Twitter, you go non-contact fan TV. I'm on there, and YouTube on the YouTube Shorts, someone else's nicked thing. So that's just me, little old me. Just think that next season it's going to be a whole situation. Now the club know this. That's why bad news has to be sugar-coated with a nice little announcement, or it's got to be buried, or it's got to be released when the club think everything's right. So for instance, we win our first 3 games, we can release as much bad news as we can because we've beaten Liverpool at Anfield. We never beat Liverpool at Anfield. We haven't beat Liverpool at Anfield since what was the last time we won at Anfield? Since 2012, August 2012.
Trossard and Podolski.
And Podolski. So you can, you know what I mean? You can still what you like because we win at Anfield, but I think that's what the situation regarding Trossard. It's a situation where
years ago. Jesus. Do you know, it's funny you say that, right? Because when you think back, yeah, we went through a period of history where it was 14 years before we beat them in 89. Well, 15 years actually, really. The last time before that was 74. But I'll ask this question, right? I'll come to you first on this one, Shane, right? With what's happened now, with Havertz out, we don't know the depths, we don't know the damage, we don't know what's going down. But if it's the same sort of injury he's had before, it's not going to be good. More surgery, never good, right? Do you think this is a golden opportunity, as we sit here, to say, right, roll our sleeves up, let's not piss about, let's just go and get Eze now. Let's just go and do the damage. Just do it, pay the money. Or do you think it's too late? Do you think now he's thinking, well, you didn't come in for me properly, I'm going to Tottenham?
Well, with the Eze thing, I never thought it was as a shoe-in the way most people. I'm not including Kenny in this because he was the same as me. That thought that this was a nailed-on thing. There was reasons, and I got pasted on. I think it was Dan's when the first rumours started that Arsenal were in from, and I said like there's a chance he could go to Spurs. You know, when Spurs were sniffing around, and people couldn't believe it. Why would he pick Spurs over us? And I named off all the reasons. There's a lot of reasons why people think that make him a shoe-in that I think might not necessarily be a good thing. You know, people were saying, oh, well, he was in our youth team. Yeah, but if I was that age and someone released me, I might hold it as a grudge. That mightn't necessarily be a good thing. I might go, you know what, I'll show you. Oh, that's only a small thing. But even if we got Eze, now we need a striker. This is the funny thing. Like everybody's calling out we need a 10, but we all know that Eze ain't starting over Odegaard. No matter how bad Odegaard plays, he isn't starting over him. And Eze knows that. Eze knows he's not starting over him. And people forget, World Cup year. To me, and it kills me to say this, it's more of a career decision for him to go to Spurs than to go to Arsenal. Because he's 20, going on 28? If he's not 28 already, he'll be 32 when the next World Cup comes. Is he going to come here, battle for a left wing spot over the stream of average left wingers we have and never really get in over Odegaard unless he gets injured? Or go to Tottenham, play in the 10, have a team built around him, and fight his way into the England team for the World Cup? I mean, people do think about stuff like this. They're in the Champions League as well. But he's not what we need. What we'll do is, if we're going to sign anyone, it'll be the equivalent of a Nicholas Jackson, someone like that on loan. But I really don't think we will. I think we are done with signing, regardless of this injury. I think they'll say, no, well, if you look at it, Trossard was going to leave, so that's why we needed to sign someone, and he's staying now. And we have Wanyeri, we have all these guys. And like I said earlier, Arteta will be asked at the end of the transfer window, when we haven't signed a striker, do you think you're going in to the season weak in the 9 position? And he'll say, what do you mean? We have 4 strikers. We have Gyökeres, we have Marino, we have Jesus, and we have Trossard. You know, he'll name them all off. So to me, I think we're done with transfers. If we were a big club, Jez, we'd do exactly what you said. We'd go and slap down the money for someone. If we were City or we were Liverpool, we'd go in and slap down the money for someone. We'd get back involved in the whole Isak thing, even though it's pointless. People are saying that it is pointless. His mindset on Liverpool. But we're not a big club. Mindset-wise, we're not. And the reason we're not is because, as I say, we have all these channels out there that child-proof everything for Arteta. They have it pre-made that whatever he does won't be called out. So they child-proof it. We had AFTV today saying that, getting Trossard on more money it's a good thing. Oh, we were rewarding players now. This is what we should do. We should reward players. They didn't know about the Havertz thing yet, and they will, even if they make that connection, they won't cover it. And apart from Gyökeres, who looks exhausted, also isn't getting fed, our business has been bang average. Bang average. United's business, they've signed 3 players who they're not. So I'm not saying Sesko's better than Gyökeres, he's not, but he's much better than what they had. Cunha's much better than what they had, and Mbeumo's much better than what they had. The only one we got is Gyökeres is better than what we had. Zubamendi isn't as good as Thomas Partey. He maybe someday he will be, but I don't know. He's 27. Will he be? He's not an upgrade on him. No. Madueke's not an upgrade on anyone. Kepa's not an upgrade on anyone. Mosquera, maybe someday he'll be a top defender, but we don't have time for this. So to me, yeah, we'd slap down the money, but even then, I mean, are we going to get another top-class striker when we already have Gyökeres? I just don't understand. We've played ourselves into a corner. We snookered ourselves, as we often do. And if people think that this is the end of the injuries, we've been telling you all summer, people. We've been telling you all summer, 3 years of flogging these players. We saw the start of it last season. There's going to be more this season. Royce is going to go down. Apparently, White missed training. Apparently, Norgard missed training. Don't be surprised if Gyökeres drops. They're all going to start dropping again because this manager won't stop doing intense training, and he doesn't rotate, and you're going to see it a lot worse this season. So to me, it doesn't really matter who we sign. Until this manager's gone, it doesn't really make a difference to me.
Very good point, mate. Einar Jandrup, is that Dutch? I think it is. I do apologise if I really abused your name. Saliba still is not signed. Story just came out that Saliba says that Arsenal are always missing something. Don't want to read too much into it, but it sounds like a thing he will not sign as yet. Yeah, good point, my friend. Good point. Jack, big up, Jack. Hope you're a lot better now, mate. I know you went through a bad time. Tottenham are considering offering us Richarlison. Oh, Christ. Plus cash for Eze. Is that true? I'd take that. That's from Craig Hope. Okay, well, if you take it, fair play. Aces, big up Aces, man. Forteta can also play Noddy Madrid UK as striker. Yeah, okay. Yeah, not confident about that one. Big up Frankie. Elise say to Arsenal coming soon. Would be nice, but I can't see it, mate. Big up Gavin. Big up Shane and Kenny. Nelson, good to see him. I haven't seen you for a while. We have done good business, Shano. I think we should have done more parts. Be honest with you. Big up Martin. Big up Shane and Kenny. There's 132 people in the house right now. Smash the likes up, please, because it does really help the channel grow. I'm 600 and something away from 10k. Nice to get there by Christmas eventually. It is a long, hard road getting the subs up, and also please everyone go and subscribe to Shane's channel as well. Shane the Gooner, top channel, great content. The Irish Breakfast Show is brilliant. I love watching it, but it always makes me hungry. It does every time. Hendo, big up Hendo, man. If I was Saliba, I would not sign either. Time to go elsewhere, win trophies. Jack again. It'll be even harder to sell Trossard now. His wages are higher. He is paid handsomely anyway. That's the thing. Here we go again. Same old bullshit. Give them more money when it comes to it to sell them. Can't sell them because of the wages. But hey, Kenny Ken. Do you think it's possible? Do you think Arsenal would pull their socks up right now and say, "Oh shit, we've lost Havertz for probably 3 months, possibly." He's not fit. He probably needs more surgery. I don't know, but do you think Arsenal have got the balls? Burton's got the balls to turn around to Palace now and say, "Right, come on, let's meet up. There's the money on the table. Let's do the deal." Because apparently Arsenal agreed personal terms with Eze. We just couldn't agree the fee. Now, time is now gone. Time is now Arsenal being a big club and say, "Right, this is what we're going to do." Go on, Kenny.
Well, the thing with Eze is that the thing about it, right, is that depends how you see him. Is he a signing of a necessity for us and everyone on this panel and most Arsenal fans? He's a signing of necessity. without a shadow of doubt. But Mikel will see him as a sign of indulgence because of the position that he will want him to play. He already's got Martin Odegaard in those positions. Obviously, he's got Kai Havertz. You can't play on the left because he actually wants a genuine left winger. And there's loads. He may look at him and say, right, I can't fit this guy into my team. And this guy, for the amount of money we've got to play, will need first-team football. So the Arsenal project and the Arsenal message will be a difficult one for Mikel, for Ebereche to actually understand, because even though he's an Arsenal fan, and most people are Arsenal fans these days anyway, it won't cut him any ice because he's a professional footballer. A professional footballer has to play. He has to play on a regular basis because he wants to go to that World Cup. You know, he's a professional footballer who was playing first-team football at Crystal Palace. He was their main man, and footballers need rhythm in order to play their best football. They've got to play every game and have to start games. You can't say that under Mikel Arteta that's going to happen. If we were managers all day long, first thing we'd do is say, all right, Martin, sit this one out. We've got someone else who's better than you. We'll do it. We'll do it. All Arsenal fans can fit Eze into their team. But Mikel Arteta, who's the most important person at the football club after the players, I can guarantee you now will not be able to find a place for him in that team. Mm-hmm. Regardless of what you think of Mikel, you know him inside out. You know the players that he wants inside out. You know the personnel. There is nothing that Mikel Arteta does that we are not a privy to. We don't even have to be in a dressing room to know his starting lineup, what his starting lineup is going to be. We don't have to be in a dressing room to know how he's going to approach games. We don't have to be there. We just know, not because we're the most intelligent people out there, it's because common sense and footballing nuances will say, yeah, that's how he plays. That's who he's going to pick. Saka's in the red zone. You've got to drop him. No. We know Mikel needs Saka in that team, so he's going to overplay him, like he's overplayed Kai. That's just like a football. I know it's an awful thing to say, but that's just like a footballing fact, isn't it?
True. But we've fallen down another rabbit hole again. You know what I mean? Here we go again. And this is one game into the season, right? And Kenny, DJB, myself, Lee, we all said it last night. Matty as well. We all said it. We're 2 player injuries away from capitulation again. Mm-hmm. And here we are, one game in, and Havertz is possibly out for a period of time. We don't know exactly how long, but knee injuries can be quite nasty, as we know. Yeah, come on, people. Anyway, let's move on to the positives. Let's move on, right? Leeds United, Saturday, Kenny, you'll be at the game. Good to see Leeds back in the old Premier League. I like Leeds United. We've had some great battles with them over the years, and I'm thinking basically if Arteta sets this up right, that should be a good result for Arsenal. Should be a good result because we know they're going to come out and play hard and fast. But Kenny, I think we've got to start and score early. Put them on their back. Yeah. Go on, mate. Go on.
You know what? You're spot on. I think what's happening is that Arsenal. You know what it's like. You know, when Arsenal start well and they score early, you know you're in for a good afternoon if you're an Arsenal fan. You know that you can put you virtually they're 8 out of 10 times they're going to sustain that kind of energy. There's times when they have scored early and they haven't been able to sustain that energy, especially a lot like last season. But you think with Arsenal against Leeds, this is a good opportunity where we can see a lot of Gyökeres, because Gyökeres is under pressure now. There's no resting period as well. He hasn't got Havertz. He can't have a rest, and Havertz comes on, on the bench. He's going to have to probably play every 90 minutes now. He's got to probably get himself fit by playing matches for us and doing his training, whilst normally you'll get him fit to play matches. So he's going to have to sort of like get fit on the job rather than learn on the job. He's got to get fit on the job. So when it comes to Arsenal, and he comes to my good friend, like Gyökeres, we're going to need to get him in the game pretty quickly. We're going to have to get the ball quickly. We've got to move the ball quickly. We've got to mix it up a bit. We might even have to play a longer pass just to get him turning the Leeds defence. Because if we play the way we're playing right now, yeah, he'll get a chance. Might do. He might get some scraps, definitely. But if we get the ball quickly enough for him, we can get him in the game. Because at the end of the day, he's our main man anyway, because of he's a marquee signing. But he's now our main man because Kai Havertz, isn't a guy that can cover the bench, or he can come on for Kai Havertz. He is our striker now. He is our forward option. Jesus out of knee injury. So if anything happens to Gyökeres, who plays up top? Who? Maybe Dibbly Dobbly.
Marino.
That's Trossard, or it could be Marino. When Marino will do a job for you, but that team's going to work him out by then. It's not the same, is it? It's not the same because you know that in order to get the best out of Mourinho, you've got to be really precise with your passing. You've got to be really precise with your crossing because he ain't got the pace to get away from anyone. You know what I mean? And it's like going backwards. So it's one of those things where Leeds is a great opportunity for him to, show us this, change the style, change of attacking. Like I said, options, change of attacking style. A bit what we saw against Bilbao. Where we kind of moved the ball quicker. Zouameni was getting the ball a lot. We're going to need similar to that on Saturday. But let's face it, Bilbao were useless, weren't they? Horrible.
They weren't. They weren't interested in that game.
They just came for, I don't know what they came to us to do. They just came for the appearance money. They're bad. You learn more from Villarreal, and you learn more from the Newcastle and Tottenham games than you learn from what's the name, isn't it?
I think they just came for a weekend in London.
Yeah.
Firstly, I just did a super chat, man, from Lawrence. Thank you very much, Lawrence. For some reason, they're not showing up on the screen, which has happened before, but we go again anyway. Try it. There we go. Be out, Lawrence, man. This could be the straw that breaks the camel's back with these plastic deluded AKB ostriches finally seeing the light and realising that Arteta is a fraud after all. Very good comment, mate. Thank you for your super chat, as always. That's a good point. Good point, Shane. I honestly think it could be that this will be the nail in Arteta's coffin. Come Christmas, I wouldn't be at all surprised if it's all gone tits up. That's him. He's done. He's dusted. I don't think he'll get the sack, though. Personally, I don't think he'll get the sack.
No.
I'd like him.
Berto will be a problem for him if he isn't already.
I think it is a problem for him.
I mean, you guys. What if you guys have to look at? Look what happened with Joe Royle in '97. I'm going back. He left Everton because he couldn't get Torre Flow because the club wouldn't buy him. He left because Kevin Keegan fell out with a sporting director, someone from the city at Newcastle. That's why he resigned. A lot of people do managers leave because they don't get with the sporting directors, and the sporting directors have the ear. It's stress of Arsenal. The sporting directors have the ear of Josh or
But these managers weren't on 15 million a year, though, Kenny. That's the only reason that he might get out.
You're trying to manage these days. Is that £50 million a year? There's no such thing as a manager walking from. There's no such thing as you're sacked. There's always mutual consent.
Yeah, true.
Mutual consent means you resign. I don't like you, but you give me a payoff and I'll go.
Give me half of what I'm owed.
He's pissing me off. You're undermining me. I've had enough. Or you might as well go. No, I won't go. But I'm done with you guys. Don't go, Mikel. I'm done with you guys. I'm leaving. All right. All right. We'll just say mutual consent. We'll just pay the rest of your contract and just go quietly. But we're not going to let you manage Real Madrid or Barcelona. We're going to put you on gardening leave. That's the way they do it these days, isn't it?
Mm.
Can you imagine him? He'd never. Oh, come on, he'd never get Real Madrid, Barcelona.
No,
It's a shame.
You'll never know. You'll never know. Pellegrini got Real Madrid, didn't he? He didn't win much. Pellegrini didn't win anything when he got Real Madrid. Football's funny, man.
Mm.
Christ, look, I'm not disrespecting Arsenal at all. You know that they're my love.
Yeah, that's it.
Real Madrid are a bigger club than Arsenal. That's pretty right.
Yeah, without a shadow of doubt.
But anyway, let's God, fuck's sake. Oh dear. That's a debate for another day, that one. But the change.
Just get Igel onto the panel and he can debate.
I watched it last night, my friend. I watched it last night.
All 25 questions.
Yeah.
Yes. Embarrassment TV, that was, I tell you now.
Mm.
That's not for me to talk about, really. Well, I could, but I'm not going to. I might do in a minute. But Shane, right?
Yeah.
Leeds United home. Great to see them back. I like Leeds United.
Yeah.
Great history. We've had some great battles with them back in the day. Some proper battles, proper footballers, proper people going in, breaking tackles, getting up on muddy pitches, right? Look like ploughed fields. What's your view on the game, mate? Because personally, I think we've got to go out hard, fast, early. Get that goal. Gyökeres needs the service. Whether he'll get it, mate, well, we're going to see, aren't we? He didn't get a lot on Saturday. In fact, he got nothing. But it's got to be, and it's got to be a hard, fast start. Put them down. You know, we don't want to hear their fans. They're going to take a lot of fans to Emirates. Fans down there. Probably 10K, I'm guessing, something like that. Be a big lot of fans coming down for that one. And give me your breakdown. Give me your view. Because, please.
Yeah, no. I'm with you and Kenny. We have to score early. We definitely have to score early. I think if it goes to sort of 25 minutes, half an hour, and we're getting frustrated and Gyökeres isn't getting the service and the groans start coming from the crowd, we've seen what happens. We've seen it a lot last season where we'll start against a team like that and we'll be horseshoeing the ball around the box. We'll have plenty of the ball, 75% possession, not really doing much with it, and then they break away and score right before half time, and then we finally start to play the football that we should have played from the start. You know, he will start with the same midfield. He will start with Calafiori again, I think, if he's not injured, because I can't see that guy, you know, I see him being in and out of the team. Ben White missed training today, apparently. Norgard missed training. Obviously, Havertz missed training. And I said this all summer. Every press conference, pre-match press conference, the day before on the Friday, whichever day they're doing it, will be a rundown of who's fit and who's not fit, who's back from injury. Be 3 players, so he's been out a while, and then a rundown of the 3 that might miss the game or they might not be fit. That'll be all season, and then obviously the ones that are out long term. But we have to hit them early. A win, even if it's 4-0, it's still only papering over the cracks for me. It's this thing of we have to find Gyökeres, and we have to do a lot of the stuff that we're asking for. I think deep down, we know it's not going to happen this season. You know, under this manager, you know, we need to adjust our tactics and play to Gyökeres' strength. It's never going to happen. He's going to have to adjust his tactics to us. He's going to have to make the runs that Arteta tells him to. So Gyökeres will still get goals this season. I'm not saying he won't, but you know, I'm being realistic. 15 to 18, I think he's done well. But yeah, we have to hit them early. We have to score. We have to go 2-0 up as well, because at 1-0 we are not as steady as we should be. We look at how many leads we threw away last season, 12. A couple of them to lose, or one of them to a losing position, the rest of draws, I think. But we have that in us to let teams back in. I don't want to see us like last season, where if we don't break them down early and then he finally starts bringing on the Wanyeris and the people like that with half an hour left and we take the lead, I don't want to see us just sitting back then and inviting them into the game, which we often do under this manager. In fact, always do. But yeah, listen, we have to hit them early. We need to get a second then quick enough while they're down, and then we can sort of coast to it and maybe get a 3-0 win at the end. But like you said, a big shout out to Leeds, man. I've always liked Leeds. My older brother supported them when I was younger. From the season when they got up with Howard Wilkinson and then went straight on to win the league with Cantona and stuff like that. And then obviously the Tony Yeboah years, and they've always sort of had great players. They've always been combative. You think of that midfield they had with Gary Speed and Gary McAllister and David Batty. I mean, some absolute ballers in that team. And any team that can get a song out of Lee Chapman when they're doing a job, you know what I mean? Because they got a decent song out of Lee Chapman. I think he got in the England squad for a stage while he was at Leeds.
But Shane, that kit again, that kit.
The Admiral kit, is it?
No, I'm talking about that Arsenal kit.
The Arsenal one.
You were on that awful Arsenal kit in 82.
The amazing Arsenal kit, Kenny. The amazing one. The 82-83. The beautiful navy and green, man. But yeah, look, it'll be a like you said, you touched on it there, Jez. Their crowd are going to get into it, and if we don't score early and their crowd start getting the hang of things and our crowd get a bit quiet, you don't know, man. You don't know. I don't think any game is a shoe-in for us this year, and I think that's the real shame. You look at, you know, and I'll finish on this. When we were playing before the United game, even the top Gooners, the Arteta section, whatever you want to call them, were coming out and saying, oh, God, if we don't beat United, that could really affect our chances of the league, you know what I mean, on the first game of the season. But when you look at City and Liverpool, you'd never say if they lose their first game of the season that that's going to affect their league. You know they're just going to come back. So I think if you're going to be a team that wins the league, there has to be games that you look at as a fan on the fixture list and go, I've no fear going into that, and I've no fear going into that, and I'm pretty sure we'll steamroll them. With this current Arsenal team and the way we play, I don't know if I will have a moment this season where I go into a game thinking, yeah, this is a shoe-in. This is a shoe-in. And I think we'll win. Don't get me wrong, I think we'll win, but I'm not, you know, I'm only about 90% confident. Where going into a game like this, I should be close to 100% confident, and I'm not. We have it in us to slip up, Jez. But if we hit them early and take a 2-0 lead, we should be all right.
Yeah, I'll get your predictions in a minute. Just get this comment. Great comment. Love this one. Mick, big up, mate. Back in the early days of hybrid. Eddie Kelly and Johnny Giles. Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what, Leeds United had some proper wrong'uns back then. Ricky Bremner, Norman Hunter. God, they'd take your legs off, they would. God, blimey.
Johnny Giles is a wrong un. Because you remember, I think in the 1960s, there was this Man United player where his career ended early to injury in the 60s. And Johnny Giles he revelled in the fact that he was responsible for that player. I don't know who it was. It was around 1965, 1966. It's a Man United player at Old Trafford. He said you had to have a particular skill to be able to get away with that. Where he did the injury and it was all studs first. And the guy he's only about 5'5", Johnny Giles.
Yeah, he's only
he can have it. Billy Bremner was about the same, like 4'5".
Yeah,
he can have it. Well.
Yeah. Ginger, old Ginger.
I mean, as much as do you remember the photo, the sort of like legendary photo of Bill Mackay getting Billy Bremner by the shirt in 1965 at White Lane, and Billy Bremner's going, "What have I done?" You know that one, and you know Dave Mackay's an old bastard as well.
Yeah, Giles was surprisingly good on the ball. Giles was very good on the ball, though. He doesn't get enough credit from me for how good he was on the ball because of the way Leeds played. It went a bit under the radar how silky he was on the ball.
Mick Jones.
It was a different game. I mean, there's a lot of naughty players out there. What's his name? I'm trying to. Derek Dugan from Wolverhampton Wanderers. He was a proper dirty bastard.
You know another hard man. You talk about Tommy Smith, Peter Story.
Yeah.
Harris.
Tommy Smith.
Chopper Harris.
Chopper Harris.
Yeah. Chopper Harris from Hackney.
Yeah. He was an awful human being. You know what I mean? Rightio, let's move this on. Right, I've got a couple of comments here. I think are quite good actually. Question here. Anybody jump in? Who wants to go first? Thoughts on reindeers, as I call it, and Turkey. They look good.
Reinders is the full package. He's the full package. And do you know what I like about him is that when he went to Milan, Barcelona wanted him, and Milan weren't great at the time. They're still not great at the moment, actually. But he weighed up not what the money they offered, because he could have got more at Barcelona. He weighed up what the manager told him his role was going to be. And he made his decision on Milan in that he thought his game would develop more with the way they were going to let him play. And I think that's just quite refreshing these days to see that. He thought, then I'll get my big move after this. Because Milan, as big as they're a huge, huge club, but in terms of winning Champions Leagues and stuff like that, they're a long way behind. But I like that about him. But watching him, you know, and if you listen to Dan Potts all summer, that was whenever he's asked who do you want, Reinders, it was always Reinders, you know, and he's a top player. He's got everything. And when they get Rodri back and they have him and those two in a double pivot, they're going to be. It will remind me slightly of it to a more sort of less for getting in for the tackles, but they can both read a game. But that sort of Vieira Petit, where the two midfielders are both really good on the ball. They're both 6 foot odd. They can both get forward. They can both defend. They can both nick a goal. And that's why I was amazed that everybody's sleeping on City. I tipped them for the league as well. I said it's a flip of a coin, but I lean slightly towards City for the Pep effect and Liverpool having to retain and stuff like that. I think the two of them are going to come out of the blocks. They already have. But Cherky, again, match winner type player. Great on the ball. Bit of a Rolls Royce player, but he has an eye for goal, has an eye for pass, and the price they got him for is criminal compared to what we're spending on the Maduekis of this world. But two brilliant signings. Pep knows a midfielder. He knows a midfielder. He knows how to sign a midfielder. He knows what a midfielder is, and he can sign one. You know, just like Cruyff with forward players. Rarely missed when he signed forward players. You know, Romario and the likes. But I look at Reinders and I think, yeah, that is my type of player. That is really my type of player. That's a player that you can have him in midfield, and it's almost like you free up a space. You know what I mean? It's like he does two people's jobs. It's almost like Thomas Partey had a bit of that about him when he was at his best. It was like, okay, we can now push the two in the 22-23 season. Xhaka was able to just stay forward, and Odegaard was able to stay forward because Partey literally just held everything together. And Reinders, for me, he's the total package. Could be the difference between them winning the league and not winning the league. That's how much I think of him. I think he's absolutely amazing.
You know, I totally agree with what you said. I think what's happening when you look at Man City, and one of the reasons why they kind of gone under the radar, because you know what happens in football. If you have really one bad season, you know they use adjectives like you're finished or you're washed, and it's never going to be the same again because Man City just fell. We're talking like the standards just went from one extreme to another. But you think about the whole situation when you talk about Man City. Man City knew early doors that they weren't winning the league. They knew in January that they weren't winning the league. Although Pep probably suspected it a lot earlier than that, but that it was confirmed in their minds they weren't going to win the league. So he kind of thought the same thing about the Champions League. So he said, right, I'm going to start our transition in January, so I'm going to buy these.
He used it like pre-season, Kenny, didn't he? He used it like pre-season, the half season. It's brilliant. Yeah.
He spent a lot of money in January, and then in the so these guys be ready for the pre-season, the Club World Cup, and then he spent even more money on these players. And you're right, Pep Guardiola was one of the greatest midfielders of all time. People seem to forget that he played in the Barcelona side, the dream team, which was his dream team. So, and he was a very good DM for Spain as well. So, without a shadow of doubt, he knows a plan. You only have to see the Wolves game just to think, yeah, there's something happening there. And then we haven't even mentioned Marmoush.
Yeah.
He had a very fair second half of the season. He's now Premiership ready now. And then Cherky, he's got so many options.
Yeah. And if Foden picks up, it's like a new signing after last season as well, Kenny. If he gets some of that form back.
And he's got what he's also got as well is quality. He's got legs in midfield. He's got energy in the midfield. Where last year you felt that teams outrun them, outpressed them in midfield, and they weren't able to be great on the counter attack or deal with the field because the legs just went. Oscar Bobb's come back as good as new. So you'd think it's probably between them and Man City, and that's why you think great signings. But yeah, Cherky, keep him fit. And you will have to wait and see. You could talk about the defence, but if they're dominating the ball, in most of those games, does the defence really matter? It's probably going to matter against Arsenal and maybe Liverpool, but you know Pep is not a pork chop. You know he's not going to go gun-ho against either team because he knows he'll get burnt.
Yeah, but he's changed it, Kenny, and I could see it like you said, when he started using the second half of last season as a marker for this season, and then he was trying to sign Livramento, and he signed Aït-Nouri. He's not doing that inverted nonsense anymore. He's going for overlapping fullbacks again. He's going for a tighter three behind the forward that are wingers / attacking midfielders. He could go with a Foden, a Cherky, and he could have it almost three attacking midfielders behind.
Nelson, we 100% battered them. You're right, Nelson. We did batter them because, and we deserved to. They had so much space, and we're at school. But I think this season, they're going to remember this battering, and they're going to respect the fact that we can batter them. They're not going to give us any space. They are going to make sacrifices.
They're going to beat us at the Emirates.
Yeah, but you know, with Man City as well, if you notice that when they won the league in 23-24, because there were times when Kyle Walker weren't playing, where he basically played with 4 centre halves in his back four.
He's done with that now as well.
And he got away with that because they dominated position. All those 4 centre halves were good on the ball, excellent on the ball. But now, as you said, left back, he's got a genuine left back. He doesn't have to rely on Guardiola, so he can play Guardiola in the middle if he needs to. And at right back, he can say, right, Rico Lewis, I've been trying to make you my main man because you can give me something different than Kyle Walker. I don't actually need Kyle Walker's pace up and down. I actually need you to beat in my midfield. So he gave me his start, isn't it? There's rumours even that not the first was sniffing around Rico Lewis. But, Pep, for now, is going to say, right, you're my inverted right back. So I see what you mean. He's changed it in such a way where he's brought back the orthodoxy in terms of defence. Because he knows he can't get away with playing 4 centre halves in the.
And he suddenly has a bunch of centre halves now, Ken. Even if they're not staying, because he's not using them as fullbacks anymore. So now he has like 4 centre halves fighting for 2 spots as well. You know what I mean? So, and
they got up their game. Akanji knows that the mistakes he made last season won't be tolerated because there's someone better than him. The same with Diaz, same with John Stones. All those. And who's the guy that they got from He started off against Chelsea and he struggled a bit, but he's now got pre-season. What's the guy, what's his name? He's
the centre back,
Kuznov.
Kazakhstani lad, the Kazakhstani lad.
Kuznov. Kuznov. That's it, Kuznov.
Yeah, he's had time to set
for a spot as well now because he now knows our league.
Yeah, I've got a couple of funny questions here, really. Fucking jokes, really. Nelson, do you believe we landed on space? You mean on the moon? I think it's a hoax. No, it's not, mate. How the hell did the flags get there, and how did the lunar module and the other shit get on there? It's a good conspiracy at the time, but nah.
Buzz Aldrin must be turning his grave at that question, Nelson.
Yeah, exactly. Rose says, yo, Jez, question for you. What Liverpool team was better, 19 and 20 or the 2025? For me, 1920. I'll tell you for why. Last year, a lot of teams dropped off the planet. Arsenal, Man City, basically Liverpool had a free run. For me, we had that season, the 1920 season, we had teams competing. And Arsenal weren't, but there was teams in the mix in that one, and that was Klopp's. For me, what do you think, Kenny?
You know what? I thought Klopp's team in 1920 that was just a machine.
Yeah,
that team had Mane and Salah, and he had Firmino, who basically did the donkey work, and they had everything. Like Mane, if you play a low block against Liverpool, Mane is one of those players that in little spaces. He found space that didn't exist. Firmino made space because he just dragged defenders out of position and made so much space for Mark. And then you had the midfield was just solid with Henderson and Fabinho. And you had, and then you think about like defence, you had Van Dijk was his best, Alisson was at his best. That team was a machine. And that team probably should have won the league the year before, but Man City got 98 points. They got 97. Yeah. Whilst this Liverpool team, it wasn't really Slot's team, but Slot's tweaked it, and he did remarkably well to the extent, took advantage. He basically said, we're going to win the league, and he done it quietly. This season, how you doing, sis? Hello to you as well. This season,
hi, your squad, Sophie, good to see you.
This season, it's definitely going to be his time, because he has to recognise that defensively, from a defensive point of view, he needs to get Gravenberch in that team, and he needs another centre half, because he needs to push Kanate for his place, and Van Dijk, he's not going to be there forever. And at right back, he needs Frimpong and Bradley to push each other for that place, to build the stands up. And at left back, he's already recognised he needs competition for Robertson, and he needs strength there. So it's one of those things where he knows what he needs to do. He has to get another striker in because of a situation regarding God bless his soul, Diogo Jota. Because you think about it, Chiesa, is he good enough?
Good point. Shane, what do you think? 19?
Oh, the 1990-21. As much as it kills me, Liverpool will be my sort of, because most of my mates support Liverpool, so that's who I'd be backing forward and with the most. The funny thing is with that team, and it was a machine, and someone said that Salah and Mane were unplayable. Salah was unbelievable. Mane was really underrated. Someone else put up there, I miss Mane so much, respect him for moving on because Liverpool didn't do him right. I agree with that as well. But the funny thing is with the Salah now, the Salah of last season, I think he's a more complete player last season. Was he added assists? He was dropping off. He was more of a team player. I think he was more of a complete player, but he was unstoppable back then. Don't get me wrong, and for all different reasons. But that Klopp team was sort of, Klopp has Arteta does the same, where he runs his players into the ground. If you look at Klopp through his career at Dortmund, and then before that as well, he'd have a 3-year period where he was either challenging or winning, and then there'd be a massive drop off for a year. And you saw it the year after, because he runs them into the ground, he burns them out. The only difference is he wins when he does it. He's winning Champions Leagues, and he's winning Bundesligas 2 in a row with Dortmund, to show how impressive that was. Bayern then went on a 13-year winning streak in the league. They won 13 in a row. It shows how impressive it was, with him losing his best player every summer to Bayern. Losing Lewandowski and losing Hummels and losing. So I love that whole rock and roll football, and Slot has sort of, I don't want to say added a bit of class to it, but he's added a bit of restraint to it. I think a little bit of restraint, and it's a perfect match. He's sort of gone attack them. He's going to go more attacking this season. He's going to me, I think Liverpool this season are going to be very like Newcastle in the mid-90s under Keegan. I think they're just going to go all out and try and bury teams 3-0 in the first half hour. I think they tried to do it against Bournemouth. I saw a few Liverpool fans saying, "Oh, what are we doing attacking when we're 2-0 up?" And I was saying, "No, man, if you get the third, it's over." At Anfield, Bournemouth, you get the third, Bournemouth go, lock up, damage control. We're not coming back. But at 2-0, they're thinking, if we nick one, and it's what happened, they got the 2 back. So I think they're going to be very like that Newcastle team under Keegan, which is going to be great for the league. And I think last season, Pep saw what Slot did, and he went, I can't do this control and possession all the time. I have to let players take risks. And this is what's missing in football. Arteta does it, and Kenny, you call it all the time. These managers, Arteta's, the Amarins, the Peps, that they just control every aspect of the game.
You know what I say, Shane? They're flare resistance. To add a segue to what you said, you made a really good point about, Jurgen Klopp's teams, Dortmund and definitely at Liverpool. You can actually say the same thing about the Poch at Tottenham. If you looked at how Spurs played, one of the reasons why, if you think about those sides, were very competitive, a bit like us. They had similar results in terms of and a similar kind of a makeup, where we had Saliba and Gabriel. They had Vertonghen and Alderweireld. In terms of that, at the time they were saying they were the best centre half partnership. But with the Poch at Spurs, they ran out of gas because of the high energy game. We're not quite like that, where we don't run out of gas.
We're burning our energy tracking back, though, Kenny. That's my issue with Arteta.
Yeah, and you're right to a certain extent. If you think about it, with the way we played, in terms of being excellent off the ball and being, making runs off the ball as they want. In the last 20 minutes, it's risk and reward, because teams did come back into it because they were hold. We're having to come out of our comfort zone and attack, and then last 20 minutes, we said, all right, better have a go now, because they're on their back foot. They're tired. He's making substitutions. They're there for the taking, and I think that's how how it was last season. You look towards the end of last season, there were games where, even though in other seasons we say we're going to win those games, we weren't sure. We weren't sure we were going to beat Crystal Palace at home. We weren't sure we were going to beat Brentford. We weren't sure about Bournemouth. All these teams, Fulham, and to be honest, it was only Fulham we really beat, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We were, and it because the way we were playing, the way these teams were like sitting in, making sure that they, like I said, the goalkeepers had a good job. They made sure the referees watched us in set pieces. And the second half, they attacked our left-hand side. They attacked, basically attacked Miles Lewis-Skelly. So I hear what you're saying. You got sort of like look at where we went right and look where we went wrong. And I think that's what Slot's done at Liverpool. Is that
find a balance.
He has to find a balance. However, in midfield, he's going to have to get a body in, because that defence is going to need a lot of protection. Because Konate, you saw what happened when he doesn't concentrate, and he relies on his pace to get out of trouble. And Van Dijk, there's right. If you look at him, when you get on the shoulder of Van Dijk, he's not able to get in those positions where he very much needs Konate and needs his DMs to actually be there and be a screen in front of him. You saw against Crystal Palace in the Community Shield, and you saw some against Bournemouth. He was struggling to get in there to cover that ground. He was struggling to sort of like when there were mistakes happen. Normally, if Konate has a sort of sleepy moment, he'll go in there and sweep it up. He can't do that at the moment.
And Gravenberch will be like their Rodri, I think. I think he'll be that important to them this season. That if he's out, you will see the big difference.
I think I think with suspension, plus he's just had a baby. So
Gravenberch.
Yeah, I think he's got paternity leave, because I know he didn't play the Community Shield because he had paternity leave.
He was suspended though, wasn't he? Wasn't he suspended?
After the Community Shield, Slot said he was on paternity leave, and then last week against Bournemouth they said suspension. But the quicker they get him back, the better. Especially with remember they're playing Newcastle, they're playing us.
They'll be all right. I think most games, Kenny, I think that they won't be like that. I think they will go 3-0 up before the other team comes back. Not all games, of course. There will be games when they get found out. It's why I don't have them for the Champions League. I think they'll be too open for the Champions League. I think Chelsea will go further in the Champions League. You said like, the Champions League. I still have Chelsea as my. I have Chelsea to go further
than
Chelsea, anybody. Yeah.
Not because they're not the best team in the league. They're not the best equipped team to win the Champions League. But in terms of the tactics, the fact that I think it's a younger man's competition in terms of like a young PSG team, basically blitz everyone. And I think this Chelsea team, the way they play and the mentality they have, they're actually built for a one-off final. They're built for a two-legged semi-final against a big team, because of the fact that they have the players and they have the tactics and they have the mentality to think, you know what, I'm not afraid of Real Madrid. I'm not afraid of Barcelona. We think we can beat them, because what I saw in the World Club Championship, especially that game against PSG, it showed me, you know what, that team isn't built to win the league, but that team could do something in the Champions League.
Yeah, I agree.
True. I'll just do some of these comments. Big up, Unique 79, man. Hope you're well. Big up. Good to see you, my friend. Panel, what is your opinion on Berta? Is he going to be another puppet, or will we eventually see his ruthlessness in our season, if our season will be blown apart? Go on, Shane. Give us your opinion on that one. I think it's interesting.
It is a great question, because my opinion on this changes from time to time. I still believe that he's got power. I feel with the transfers, he's being told, try and sign. There's Arteta's list. Try and sign the players he wants. If you can't get them, then the next choice is yours. Along those lines, I do think that he's ready to pull the trigger if needed. I think he will. I think it'll have to come from the top. Obviously, I don't think it'll be his decision. He'd have to go to the Kroenkes and say, listen, you brought me in. He's not doing it. It's time for him to pull the trigger. I do feel that if we're really, really floundering come Christmas, which I think is a big possibility, by the way, and a big manager becomes available, i.e. a Simeone gets sacked from Atletico, which could easily happen as well, by the way. I think they lost their first game and he's only got a year left. Don't be surprised if he gets sacked soon. if something like that comes along while they're considering Arteta's position, it might speed it up. But as far as his power, I'm still not so sure. I think he's got a certain amount. I think he's got sort of Arteta on fraud watch. I think he's reporting back to the Cronkies and saying, look, this isn't working. This is working. This part I don't understand. I think it'll all come out in time, but I do wonder why you would get in the best in business and the best in class, whatever way you want to word it, if he isn't going to be given some sort of power. I do think Arteta still holds most of the cards in terms of, I don't think Berta would have the power to go in and say, you better play Gyökeres or you better change your tactics or anything along those lines. But I think the more it starts to fall apart, the more that Berta will be used to sort of undermine his authority, maybe to be hanging around a bit more, to be putting the pressure on him, to be saying, okay, you've had this, you've signed this player, it's not working. Madueke's not working out the left, play him out the right, or things along that over time. But I do hope he's given a bit of power, because let's get it straight. Arteta's gone mad with power now. These press conferences where he's just telling barefaced lies, people are running with them and saying that it's the truth, that we had the most points in the last 3 years. Just a barefaced lie. Nobody questioned them in the press conference. Not one of them said anything. They all talked about it later. Oh, we realised later. How did every one of us realise the second he said it that it's not right, So I think he's getting desperate, and I do hope that Berta has power. But as to how much, I'm still undecided. I can't really make a final decision on it. It changes day to day. But like I said, I do hope he has a bit. I hope he has a bit more than what we're seeing.
Right.
It is regarding. Sorry, Jess. But it is regarding. We've seen it. That over the years, especially in English football, not so much in abroad. In English football, despite the fact we've got foreign owners, we've got foreign, like I said, managers, and by way of saying foreign, they're not English. So it's not. I'm not putting anyone down. We've seen it over the last sort of 30 years, probably since the Kevin Keegan days. Maybe issues with when Kenny Dalglish was towards the end of Blackburn and Liverpool, where the sporting director or director of football who deals with transfer and all that, it's not a pretty relationship. They don't get on. It's always going to be a power struggle. You look at the situation, right? You look at when Wenger in his last year of trophy. I mean, the lack of respect that Peter Kenyon had for him, because he knew he had Abramovich's ear. Mm-hmm. He knew that he actually recommended to Abramovich that this guy is not the right man for Chelsea. He had the audacity to actually go in interviews and saying, as soon as I met Ranieri, I knew he wasn't the right man for Chelsea. How dare him? How dare him do that? And then he kind of like I said, went further field with that by trying to induce Sven-Göran Eriksson for the Chelsea job. Mm-hmm. That's the lack of disrespect, and I think where it is, we've got a sporting director. It doesn't work out. Kevin Keegan left Newcastle first time because he fell out with a sporting director over some sort of thing. Either do that or you go. It wasn't under Newcastle chairman or the Newcastle owner. Sir John Hall, or his son Douglas, or Shepherd, who said go now. It was a sporting director, someone from the city. So what I'm trying to say is that there has to be some sort of tug of war for control over affairs. We've seen the first tug of war, Gyökeres over Šeško. Mm-hmm. We all saw Mikel Arteta put his arm around Šeško at the end of the game, Trafford. Yeah. All that. You can't. That's not slagging anyone off. No one who knows Mikel Arteta and saw the sort of the overt kind of overtures towards our good friend Šeško, for them to say that Gyökeres was always his first choice. We don't believe for that 1 minute. We didn't get a striker last season because we're waiting for Šeško. So, and that's all before Berta came to the club. So they've already had a clash there. The Madueke situation is, again, I'm not convinced for 1 minute that Berta didn't have his fingerprints on that. I think Mikel would have said he needs a striker, a guy's surplus requirement. You know what happens? They offered a player. they've contacted Berta because he's now a sporting director, and there had been a conversation with Mikel Arteta.
I said I was meant to be looking at Madueke the season before, though, Kenny.
Oh, maybe so. Maybe I've got that one wrong. So maybe
that's the rumor. That's where we go. That's where we all got the left wing thing from. When the first rumor started, there was rumors that he wanted him the season before.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's true or not.
I've got that one wrong. But one thing about Šeško and Gyökeres, that's definitely a clash. And I think there's going to be more clashes as well, because you've got to think about the situation is that if Mikel wants a player, he's going to have to speak to Berta in terms of like Berta needs to not just talk about the player availability. He's going to say he's going to look at all the other things. Like Brighton do. Brighton like to they have this kind of system when they'll look at where a manager will go up to the sporting director of Brighton and says, right, I need this player to do this and that. Says, right, let's type in attributes on a laptop, and then I'll get you this player. And I think Berta comes from that kind of world where he will find a player and recommend him to the manager, because that's what he was doing at Atletico Madrid. So he's not going to just, do something different because it's Mikel Arteta. He's going to want to work like that. So there's going to be clashes. You know what I mean? For instance, Mikel Arteta wanted to keep Thomas Partey. He recommended that Thomas Partey gets a pay rise. Berta looked at his age and thought, no, I'm not giving him one, because this is the same Berta who wouldn't give him a pay rise when he was at Atletico Madrid. So there's got to be a clash there. Obviously, as soon as he was released, the Crown Prosecution Service and allowed his name to be released to media. But in essence, there was talk about him getting a new contract. There was talk of him wanting new money. Mikel Arteta is quoted as saying he would like to keep Thomas Partey. He still sees Thomas as a very important player.
That is very, 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 very true. I just want to pick up on a couple before we wrap it up tonight. Yes, Luke. Well, these are the real people, man. I don't have fools on my show. These people are the facts. You don't get any better than Kenny, Ken and Shane, and people like that, mate. They are the real ones. Yeah, they know the shit. They know what they're talking about, and that's why I respect them, because they're proper Arsenal. Shurkaz01, just any updates on how you will work the channel ahead? You said you were needing. Yes, I will contact you, my friend. I will. I've been a little bit busy with other stuff, but I will be getting hold of you.
Everyone likes my pronunciations of remember, he pronounces his name like that, Šeško. So I've got to respect him. Like, for instance, everyone sort of pushes back and says, "Why do you always say Bruno Fernandes?" Because Bruno, the guy himself, pronounced his name as Bruno Fernandes. And if you notice that, if you go on TikTok or you go on your Instagram, they have where at the beginning of the season a player will say his name. You notice of all the Portuguese players is always Ange.
Yeah. See, I thought with the Šeško thing, you were taking the piss out of Tom Canton, who always says Šeško and Gyökeres and all. I thought you were just taking the piss out of him, Kenny.
No. Benjamin himself. Benjamin.
Oh no, I know. Yeah.
You remember that? If you notice his name, there's an accent. If you do French and you do French at school, there's always the pronunciations. The pronunciations are a bit different because there's an accent. In Germany they have the umlaut. That the pronunciation is a bit different. I suppose when you look at his name, the pronunciation is a bit different. But in Portuguese, you don't really have the enunciations and the accents, but it's Fernandes. Like, for instance, everyone says Andre Villas-Boas. His name is Andre Villas-Boas. That's his name. Villas-Boas. You know what I mean?
Honestly, man, you come out of it.
That's how you pronounce his name in Portuguese.
I know, you get it right. I mean, fair play to you, man. I'm terrible about pronouncing it, mate. I won't lie. Churkas, man, you had a great comment the other week, which I haven't replied to. I was going to, and I apologise for not doing it. You were talking about doing a show about photographs of me at games back in the day. The thing is, what you've got to remember, back in those days, you didn't have mobile phones, and I never took a camera to the game because you just didn't do that. You know what I mean? The chances are the camera would get broken. You're not going to walk around unless you have some little thing you can put in your pocket and get shit.
All nicked. All nicked.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, it didn't happen, mate. Didn't happen in them days. So that's not a possible one for
What
me.
about a World Cup show, Jez? Do we ever do a classic World Cup show? Or go through each World Cup or go through the memorable
Should we do
World
1966?
No, we'll skip that one. We'll skip that one.
Yeah,
What about Italian 90? Italian 90.
That's my favourite World Cup. That's my favourite World Cup.
You know, the first
the opening game
of Ireland to get to the World Cup.
Nil.
Got to the quarterfinals without winning a game.
Without winning a game. And only scored 2 goals, Kenny. Only scored 2 goals and didn't win a game and got to the quarterfinals. Unbelievable.
They had a bloody good team as well.
Yeah.
They had Pat Bonner in goal.
Yeah, Kevin Sheedy out the wing.
They had a guy called Chris Morris at right back.
Yeah, great player, yeah.
And remember Gary Waddock and McLaughlin? Gary Waddock was in the squad up until the 11th hour, and he dropped him for the late John McLaughlin at the 11th hour.
Yeah, Mick McCarthy at centre back.
That 19s, my first ever World Cup, I remember. I've got the old sticker book like you used to get back in the day and all that.
Yeah.
That's the greatest Brazil team I've ever seen. Jairzinho, Rivellino, Pelé, like Carlos Alberto.
1970, is it? 1970 you're talking about, is it?
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. Yeah. It's funny you say that. You know what? Yeah, yeah. You know, Joseph and Dot. Yeah, it's funny you say that because I was on a show with DJB Gooner, and we got kind of carried away because we started talking about great players, and we got into the Cristiano Ronaldo Messi debate, and I said that the greatest players I've ever seen were Pelé and Maradona, and I said to him, right, if you don't believe me, why don't you go and watch Giants of Brazil? Remember that sort of video back in the day? It was narrated by the late great Brian Glanville. But if you watch Giants of Brazil, that's when you talk about the old Brazilian players like Garrincha, Reverinho, Trossard, obviously Pelé. And I said that if you have a debate of the greatest players ever, you've got to have people from all eras. Like, for instance, you've got to have us, then you've got to have DJB Gooner, and you've got to have people. For instance, you've got to have people who watch Messi and Ronaldo. You've got to have people who like Zidane and Ronaldo, you know, Nizara de Lima, and you've got to have people of an age who remember Pelé and Maradona, and you have a balanced debate where you can put your case, because obviously we will have an advantage of all of them because we are still part of the Messi and Ronaldo era because we're alive to see it.
The thing is, Kenny, even with sorry, go on.
No, that's it. That's all.
Oh, sorry, no, because even with Maradona, you know, I only got to, like, in '86. I was only a kid, so I don't remember it, but I know I've watched enough about it. Like, I'm obsessed with all footage and with everything, and so I would still be able to make it out. Obviously, I didn't watch, but I can still go back and watch the matches, and I've watched them over and over again, because I'd still have Maradona as the most natural player of all. I think he's the greatest. I really do. What he did with Napoli was unbelievable. But even with Pelé, I'd only be able to look at old footage. Sorry, Jess. Great
play. He's still a bloody cheat. Don't care what you say.
Oh, he's a cheat. He's a cheat. But what a player! Like, what a player.
But you can't tell Shane that. Shane was probably supporting Argentina when England played. Argentina.
I have the jersey inside the '86 jersey.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up, people. I'm going to Northside Raid. Northside's live. I'm on with Rashid at 8 o'clock. And so jump over and watch that with young Rashid. That'd be a good show.
So you're not going to be watching them celebs go dating then? You're going to be with Rashid?
No, I think I'll give it a miss, mate.
Don't blame you.
Fucking hell, I can't watch that crap. Anyway, Shane, what you got coming up, buddy?
Yeah, first off, big up for having me on. Always a pleasure coming over here. It's one of my favourite shows to do. Big up to Kenny, of course, and big up to the chat. Yeah, usual full Irish breakfast tomorrow morning, every morning 10:30. I think we're at 111 now without missing one. So, you know, work rate, man, work rate. But I have started a new show coming. I'll be covering Serie A this season. So I'll be covering the Napoli game on Saturday, doing a watch along. And then every Wednesday night, I think I have it set for 11 o'clock, will just be a roundup of Serie A. And Kenny will love this. It's there'll be a 15-minute segment where I just delve into the career of how Cesc Fabregas is doing as a manager over at Como. So,
you know, on a serious point of view, Francesc Fabregas, you know, he's going to be if he's given the opportunity, he's going to get a big job soon.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's why I want to keep an eye on him. I just want to keep an eye on him, see how he's getting on.
The thing with Francesc Fabregas, he's going to probably find it very hard because he's talking about bringing back flair football, and he's very much an opponent of what we see in system-based football, where he was a victim of it. To be honest, when he was last year at Chelsea, when he played under Conte, he was a victim of system-based, you know, like I say, strict position-based football. Whilst there was a lack of flair. So he's talking about wanting to bring it back. I'll tell you, his greatest achievement in football would be if he actually gets a side that can actually win leagues and get to Champions League, late stages of Champions League tournaments, playing his prepared style away. Another thing as well, where his bigger achievements is if he's got actual the balls to actually play like that.
Yeah, well, he seems to be letting players, the attacking players, do what they do best, which is what Liverpool do, you know, and I do like that. Hopefully it's coming back. And I just said, I'm going to do a Serie A show. Keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on Serie A League. And then, I'll have, so full Irish tomorrow. And then, that's the main. That's the main.
Top man, mate. I don't know where you get the energy from. Sam's saying, Sam Bond, thank you for your super chat, my friend. Eze to Arsenal break.
Hold on. Someone sent something from Oising. Don't end the show now. I just got something from my phone. Let's have a look. Oh, basically. Hold on. I've got something. Right. David Oinstein has just said Arsenal make move for Eberechi Eze. 25-year-old wants them. Tottenham lined up to deal with Crystal Palace today. And player, but after having injury, and Arsenal now closing in on England international. If he proceeds with choice, Tottenham will pursue other targets if they don't get him. So that's the breaking news today.
Okay, maybe we are back in for him then.
Interesting. We did say this, Shane, right at the beginning of the show, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. I still think it's Spurs, but you never know with football.
You don't know football.
No, you don't. Kenny Ken, as always, mate, thank you for joining me. And Shane, what you got coming in, mate, on Insta? And shout it out, buddy. No. Did you hear that, Kenny?
What's that? Oh, what I got? I thought I could hear me pooch going. So I lost my shoulder. Right, what I've got planned this week, for the end of the week, I've actually got Arsenal versus Leeds playing. I'm free. So it's going to be a case of like basically watching whatever's on TV and then save myself for
Leeds.
The Leeds game and probably doing a fan cam afterwards, and that's it. And then the next bit of work I've got is going to be next week. I was probably going to be busy, but so I can leave my laptop in a sort of like case and have, you know what I mean. And my wife will be happy about that as well, even though she's abroad in Sardinia with my youngest daughter. But, you know, she still wants me on the phone in case there's an emergency.
Well, tonight I'm on with Rashid, 8 o'clock. Tomorrow night I'm on with the lovely little Soph on Gooner Gossip, 8 o'clock tomorrow night. So come over to watch little Soph, sorry. And then next week next Tuesday. It'll be back to next Tuesday. Will be an equals. Is this show? We moved it to today because of the cock up with YouTube Monday night with Lee and his channel and everybody else's channels all going tits up.
Jez, this is an important announcement. It's an important announcement. This is from my friend, who's a Spurs fan. Sure. As I said to you, brother, I knew Eze wanted Arsenal all along, and Arsenal played a waiting game. I know my club, Ken, always on the cards. You could feel the disappointment coming out of all his pores, but you never can say never.
No,
I
that's
haven't
true.
heard anything concrete.
That's true. That is so true, mate. You can't tell it in football. You cannot tell it, man.
Basically what happens, right? Both clubs put their nuts on the table and say, right, here's the asking price. The player chooses. That's all you've got to do. Put your nuts on the table. If you really, really want this player, that goes for Arsenal and Spurs, and it's up to the player. And it's up to Arteta to convince this player that he is going to start football matches for the club and he's not going to be part of the squad. Because right now, even though he's an Arsenal fan and we're a better team, first team football at the moment still wins. It's just like cash or check. We're offering them Eze a blank check. Spurs are offering him cash in hand. What would you take? Cash in hand or a blank check?
Blank check, mate. Thank you. Just sign it myself. Thank you very much.
All right, but with a check, that's a problem. That's an I'll pay you later.
Yeah, but you
cash
just put
in it.
Yeah, but a blank check, mate. You just put in the amount you want.
All right. Let me rephrase that. Arsenal offered him a check, and Spurs are offering him cash. What would you take?
I know what you're telling. I know what you're saying. I'm just. I'm being pedantic.
He's still going to need of convincing of his role in the team.
Yeah.
I know that. I'm just being pedantic. You know, somebody gives me, if I've done a boiler change years ago and somebody says, right, here's a blank check, I'll go, right, thanks very much, £5,000.
Yes, we're Gooners. We're Gooners. Of course, we're going to choose Arsenal, but he's a Gooner, but also a professional footballer.
Yeah, he's got World Cup to think about.
I get that. Okay. Anyway, people, next Thursday, Kenny, Shane, Lee's going to join us for a show if you're about next Thursday. I don't know what time yet. I haven't set it up yet. But if you want to jump in with that one, that'll be Thursday next week. And everybody, thanks for joining. Thank you, chat. Thank you for the super chats, everybody. It's been a great show, actually. Great comments from the chat as well.
And you know what? We started the show on a downer because Kai Havertz is injured and we weren't going to buy anything. And at the end of the show, with Arsenal reigniting their interest in Eze. So how you start and how you finish is night and day, isn't it, Jess?
Exactly. Yeah, you can't deny that one. You can't deny that at all.
And Deluded Good is kicking himself right now because we had a show basically where we had to segue to the top players and he missed the announcement of Arsenal's new interest in Eze by about a couple of hours. Sliding doors moment, isn't it?
It is, mate. It is. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Rashid's going to bring this one up in a little bit.
Rashid's going to run away with this.
Yeah, of course. Why not? I don't blame him. Anyway, people, we're going to get out of here. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you, Shane, as always. It's been a great, great show. Great debates. Great questions from everybody. We're out of here. Take care, everybody. Eze, come on, man. Do the deal. Get on with it.